What's up, Clever Masterminds? Clever Boy 86 here, and today I've got kind of a special vlog for you guys. As you guys know, we have our own place now. A friend of my dad's is going to be moving here from California, and her and my dad are going to be renting this apartment together. So I figured we'd do a video talking about the two places that we stayed at before this apartment, and kind of clear things up and explain why we left the places that we were staying at. So we stayed at two different places. I'm going to talk about the first place, and Dad's going to talk about the second place. The first place that we stayed at was an apartment with a friend of my dad's. And when did you get there, Dad?
End of July.
Yeah, because Dad drove back from South Dakota. And, so he was staying with a friend of his. I didn't go there till the beginning of September. Anyway, so, it was pretty clean, when we first got there, there wasn't much in there.
Pretty empty, too, yeah.
Yeah. And then, beginning of October, my dad's roommate's girlfriend moved in, and, yeah, it got pretty cramped. Plus, she had a puppy, too.
Yeah, and it was just a two-bedroom, one-bath place. So
yeah, and we were all sharing a bathroom, which was pretty inconvenient at times, in the mornings when I had to get ready for school or Dad had to get ready for work. And it was just, it was a pretty small space. We had a really small bedroom.
And she had a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
A ton of stuff that she brought in. And
I know, the living room was a disaster.
Took over the whole apartment pretty much. And
yeah, the kitchen was...
Yeah, and they were messy people.
Yeah.
And I'm not a messy person.
Yeah. And she had a dog, too, which was... And there's
Right.
Yeah.
The dog was cute, but was not house trained at all. And she didn't think she had to house train it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Got pretty disgusting in short order.
Yeah, there was just stuff all over the place. There was, just stuff that, the dog had gotten into,
Yeah, tore up. The dog tore up anything it could get its teeth on.
Yeah. And it wasn't house trained at all, which,
So pooped and peed all over the...
Yeah. It was, it got pretty messy, and at one point I was just stay in the bedroom. I was I don't even want to go into the living room, because there's just so much shit all over the place. But yeah, anyway, so that's one of the main reasons why we had to leave the first place that we were staying at. But then in December, is it okay if I talk about what happened?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it was I was staying with my dad, and the cops came one night. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and there was a knock on our door, and it woke both of us up. And then these cops came in with flashlights, and they were asking my dad questions because something had happened between my dad's roommate and his girlfriend, and it was a domestic disturbance. So the cops were called, and they came into our room and they were asking my dad questions. And it was pretty scary, to wake up to cops coming into your room with flashlights, you remember that, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. But anyways, I think after that, we just knew, we had to leave that place.
Well, the lease was ending and it was way too crowded, and that was the final straw, really. And
yeah. And then that thing happened with...
well, yeah, because of the incident that happened there, my friend went to jail.
Yeah. Well,
because of the disturbance.
Didn't his girlfriend accuse you of taking money?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. But he went to jail, so he was out of the apartment, and I was still staying there.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend was staying there even though she wasn't on the lease, and at one point she accused me of taking money and all this other stuff, and was just a complete lie, and it was just
Yeah.
because she was fighting with my friend, and so I was in the sort of the middle of all this, and I'm just like, no, you know, and
Yeah.
that was that was pretty much it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was packing my bags at that point, so
Yeah.
So that was the end. So then we, the lease didn't actually end until the end of January, but I left it. Moved all our stuff out at the end of December.
Did they ever like move out of that apartment?
They helped me.
No, did they move out like?
Oh yes, they moved out. Yes.
So they're not there anymore.
No.
Are they like? Did they like break up or something?
Yeah. I'll tell you about that later.
all
Not
right.
on the video.
Yeah, not all right. Well, anyway, so yeah, it just got way too crowded. 4 people, and a puppy there. Like, how many square feet was it? Like?
I don't know, 800 or
Yeah,
something. Not very big.
Yeah, it was pretty small. It was a pretty small space, and yeah, it got really messy. The puppy wasn't house trained. There was just shit, like literal shit all over, and just other stuff, and it just got like way too messy. And it's kind of weird. Like when I first got there, it was pretty empty. There wasn't much in there. But then, like when we left, it was like a complete disaster. It looked like like a hurricane went through. But anyway, so that was the first place. When did you leave? Like end of December?
Yeah. Excuse me. I moved out the last day of December. And,
Yeah.
or the first day of January. I forget which one. But anyway, yeah. And so then I found these other roommates just on kind of on Craigslist,
Yeah.
And these 2 gals who were a couple who were looking for another roommate for their other bedroom in their apartment, and so I just answered their ad. It was right in the same neighborhood where I work, and this it wasn't in the same neighborhood where I've been living, but the same neighborhood where I work. And I briefly, for a few days, been staying with a friend of mine from work because it took me a few days to find this, like the 4th of January or something. I think I found it. So then, yeah, we moved in there, and the room was nice and stuff.
It was a nice room.
Yeah, we had our own nice room. It was much larger than the room we'd had, and we had our own bathroom and stuff. But it was kind of a weird situation nearly from the beginning.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we didn't know the people who we were living with. Where did you find them?
I found them on Craigslist.
Craigslist?
Yeah, just advertising for a roommate.
And they were, basically I'll explain what happened. So, I remember I was there one night. His dad was out working. I was there by myself, just like working on homework or whatever. And all of a sudden, like the internet went down, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then I heard a bunch of screaming from the other room, and they got into a huge fight. I don't know what it was about. I heard them like yelling at each other about like a bag of flour, but I don't think they would get into a fight that big over a bag of flour. I think there's something else going on. But then one of them kicked in the other person's door because they were sharing a room. Like I just heard a door getting kicked in, and I was like, oh, it was bad. It went on for like a couple hours, and it was pretty bad, but. Anyways, that's sort of what happened, and that was like really the only big thing that happened. But yeah, and then Dad came home, and I was like, oh my God, it is.
Yeah, you were pretty stressed out then.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But anyway, so you want to talk about that place, like?
Well, yeah, it was kind of not a good match personality-wise. They were pretty intense, and they fought again. Another couple who was fighting just like the first place that we lived in, and then there were just a lot of really kind of minor rules they had, I guess, that was just seemed to strike me as kind of ridiculous and stuff.
I'll give you guys one example. Basically, Dad and I left the apartment one day, and I ran back into the room to get something, and I left my shoes on, and when I ran to get something, I think it was just like, I forget what it was, but I just ran in to grab whatever I was getting, and then came back out. And, like, when I got back, Dad told me that one of his roommates had, like, messaged him and, like, sent like a picture of the floor, like there were like shoe prints on the floor, and it was like a little bit of dust. Like it wasn't like I tracked mud in or anything. I mean, it
Right,
was
they
just a
were
little bit of dust, you know.
really serious about not having your shoes on at all in
Yeah.
the house, and that wasn't always realistic because we lived right by the front door, and we sometimes had to go in and out. I mean, and it wasn't like that.
Yeah,
Wasn't like it was spotless white carpet or anything. It was just a plastic brown floor, you know, that was
Yeah.
easily swept up, and I offered to sweep up
yeah.
often too, but.
But they just made like a really big deal about me tracking and just like a little bit of dust, like, and one of his roommates sent my dad a picture of the floor, which was pretty unnecessary, you know.
Which didn't even really show anything
Yeah,
from what I
I know.
could see. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just pretty tense. Pretty much the whole time we were there.
And then like there were like other examples, like what other things?
Us being too loud at night. You know.
Yeah, at like 7
9,
o'clock at
Yeah.
it was like 7 o'clock at night.
Just all sorts of, just a lot of little things that were, yeah, I don't know, lots of stuff. I can't remember
Yeah,
now,
like-
but
I spilled like a drop of juice on the table.
yeah,
Um,
it was just always like a lot of little stuff.
yeah,
like that.
like I spilled a drop of juice on the table when I was like eating breakfast, and they made like a really big deal about it. And it was like,
Yeah, and the shoes things were more than once. It was that time you walked in, then there was a bunch of other times. She was just all upset about I didn't take off my shoes, and you know it was, yeah, it was just a little too much for what was going on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like really, really tense. Like, I don't know. And like that thing that like they complained about us being too loud, like 7, 8 o'clock. I forget what time it was, but it wasn't like late or anything. Like we weren't like, you know, like making a bunch of noise at like 12 o'clock in the morning. But like, I mean, they weren't like exactly like super quiet either. Like
Right.
they would stay up till like 2, 3 in the morning. I could hear them, you know, like playing music or like
Watching
whatever.
TV,
Yeah.
playing games, yeah. So yeah, it was just
that was kind of annoying. But
a lot of like, you know, we can do this but you can't sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
and it was just a really weird situation too. Like,
yeah. Felt
don't know.
uncomfortable.
yeah, like.
Felt like they didn't want us there a lot. So
Yeah. So Dad had to move out. But anyways, so that's what happened. And then didn't you complain about like the electricity bill or something?
Oh yeah, they did. They complained about how much electricity and accused me of using all this electricity and stuff, and
Yeah.
which was nothing. I just used the same stuff, you know, computer, lights, whatever. Hardly anything at all. So yeah, there was just it was just always a different issue, like every few days, you know.
They just had a lot of complaints about things.
And
really small
I was
things.
paying half the bills for the place, more than
Yeah.
half the bills for the two, and the other two of them were paying the other half, and so it was
Yeah.
a really good deal for them, but not so good for me.
Yeah, because there were two of them there, and
Yeah.
you were paying the other half of the rent.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, so that's what happened. And then when did you move out? Like,
Right at the beginning, I moved out the last day of March, just so I didn't have to pay rent, and
yeah,
then I've been staying with my friends since then
yeah.
until I moved into here.
I
What?
think I got a sneezing. Like, it went away. Never mind. I hate when that happens. Like I'm prepared to sneeze and it just like vanishes.
Psych.
Yeah. Anyways, what were you saying?
Yeah, I stayed with my friend then for the month of April. Except like we stayed at that motel for about half a week, I guess.
Yeah. So what was it like your friend's place?
Oh, it was fine, just crowded.
Yeah, like the first place.
Yeah, lots of people. I mean, I was just sleeping on the couch, so
Was
Yeah.
there really a guy who lived there with 4 cats?
yeah,
Yeah, one of my dad's roommates.
in his room. Thank you.
Yeah, he had 4 cats, and I never went to this place, but yeah, this one of his roommates had 4 cats and like stayed in his room. I guess my dad told me about him, so
Yeah,
seemed a little bit weird, but
it's a little weird. So,
but
but
then
it was. I mean, I was just happy
Yeah.
to have a place to, happy to have a place to live and stuff. So, I mean, it was good in
Yeah.
that regard. So,
anyways, and then we found this place. So that's sort of the story, just to clear some things up about why we left the places that we were staying at. But we have our own place now. You know, it's a year lease, so you know it's more stable and.
We'll be broadcasting from right here the next year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is good. That's a great feeling, I think. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I'm excited. You know, I'm excited that we have our own place. And
did you tell them we're gonna get your space all styled for you to?
Yeah. I'm just temporarily sharing this room with Dad, but we're gonna get our own. I mean, I'm gonna get my own bedroom. I have my own bedroom, but there's just nothing in it.
Nothing in much, yeah.
There's a desk in there. I mean,
but no light, no lamp. So.
But we're gonna get a bed, you know, lamp and everything, and.
Get you all set up in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But anyways, I'm excited that we have our own place. But I just want to do a video, sort of talking about the places that we stayed at and sort of why we had to leave.
The backstory, as it were.
Yeah. But anyways, that's it for this vlog. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for doing this video with me, Dad.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Anyways, that's it for this vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you all for the next one. Alright. Bye, guys. Alright, so there was something that I forgot to mention about the first place that we stayed at that Dad's going to talk about real quick. So, ready, Dad?
Yeah. Well, we had a big problem with the internet at the first place. It went down a couple times. Once before you even got there. Then it went down twice when you were there, and once for a very long time, like it was almost 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, and I was there for one of those weeks.
Part of it, right? Yeah.
I think I was there for the whole week.
Yeah, you were there for a whole week, and then it was down for another week after you were gone.
Really? I didn't even know that. Yeah, because I was there for 1 week, and the internet was down. And granted, I was sick at the time. I lost my voice, so I couldn't make videos. But, like, I couldn't go on the internet. You know, I couldn't, like, do anything on the internet. But luckily, I brought, like, a couple DVDs, so I just, like, watched those on the computer.
Well, like, it went down once early on, I think, when you were there, just briefly, like, for a couple days. And then the next time it went down the whole week you were there.
Yeah.
And, it was a big problem, and nobody could seem to get it fixed, and we didn't have any control over it, so...
Yeah, that was kind of a disaster.
But that was kind of a theme because we didn't have any control over the internet at the other place either.
The internet was so damn slow there.
Yeah, it was totally slow, and then they had the router, our roommates had the router in their room, and then whenever they got in a fight, one of them would take the router and run off with it, unplug it, and take all the internet down. And because they were fighting, and so one of them would leave the house with the router, and then we wouldn't have any internet. That happened every few days, so, you know, it was... So the internet has been a problem. So I can't tell you how excited I was the other day, and this is before you got here, when I had the Wi-Fi guy out here, the cable guy, and he was hooking this up. And even before that, when I was talking to him on the phone, and they're like, what kind of internet you want? And I'm like, give me the fastest you got. The super fast. And they got it all hooked up in my name. The fastest they got.
Yeah, and this is like really fast internet here, so.
Yeah, so it is. It's good. It's the best you can get, so.
Yeah, but anyways, that's really the story. I just wanted to do a video clearing some things up about, you know, the places that we stayed at. And which place do you think was better, the first or the second place?
Well, initially the first place was good until his girlfriend moved in.
Yeah.
The second place was good briefly. It was nicer to be in a bigger room and stuff, but it didn't last very long. It wore off kind of quickly.
Yeah.
This place is definitely the best.
Yeah.
And it's only been a few days, and I can say that unequivocally.